This tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the blocks database system in SwiftForth. It's based off of Polyforth, and I've got a demo showing you how to use this real quick. So you can come up to optional packages, generic options, and select database. It's a simple database support system. So just click OK. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how this blocks database relates to this other database system called FilePro. It's similar in a few ways, so I'll show you how this works. It's just another CRUD database system that I use. It's kind of niche, so not many people know about it, and I may do more tutorials if there's interest in it. So this is FilePro, the database. I've just got a printer database that I'm tracking inventory in, and the blocks database is based off of Polyforth. And it has a report system that is similar to this. So you can actually build custom reports in the blocks database. I'll just briefly cover it in this tutorial. But this is another type of old school database system, and it's still around. So I think it's started back in the 1990s or even further back. And you can still try a demo of this out. I use it all the time, but this is kind of a fourth channel. So if there's any interest in this, I may do some tutorials on this. It's pretty interesting. It's kind of based off the basic programming language. So you can program this to do just about anything. If I hit the E key, it's going to bring up Outlook and just pre-fill out these fields that are in this database right here. And I even built a map into this database. So it's just a basic type of ASCII map. And if I back out, I created another type of map. And this one is a little bit more detailed. So if I hover my mouse over there, it pulls from the database. So it's just kind of a things that you can do in a business type of case. So if there's any interest, let me know. So I've already pre-made a file, so what I'm going to do is just import it, and I'll teach you how to make your own source file right here. It just contains your database and everything. So I'm going to copy and paste this next part in, and we just imported the database. So if I type in everyone, you can see that we've got our database. And if I type in 400 lists, you can see that this is kind of how the block database system is laid out. So I'm actually going to clear the screen so you can see that a little easier. Each of these blocks is 124 bytes. So if I type in 401 list, you can see that I have another block that's at 401. It's got a few more records. So I'm going to teach you how to create your own database, how to import, export, do the basic CRUD application things. So I've created a simple hello world example of this blocks database. This database system, it's highly customizable. So you can set the length of a name, street, city, and state. So these bytes you can change them to whatever you need to. So maybe you want a 24 byte name or a 20 byte name. The only thing you have to look out for is this word state. You call it that, it will conflict with the word in SwiftForth. So I just called it state2, and that's how you set up your fields and the links. So next you're going to initialize the database. Just going to set a length, max records, number of blocks, and the starting block. So each record will be 74 bytes long. We're just going to have 3 records. So we could put this to one block. If this was set to something like 20, you would definitely need 2 blocks, preferably 3, because you always want to have a buffer. And we're just starting on 400. So if you start on block 0, you may have an error, and I would just keep it anywhere from 1 and beyond. So I'm just going to use 400s. We're going to call this the people database, and we're going to initialize that database with this command, initialize. And we're going to start entering records. So we can do it with the word ask. See, ask is asking for a name, and it will insert 20 bytes of data into that database. And also print out a record and print out all records. So I'm just gonna copy and paste all this in. We'll go to Tools, Optional Packages, Generic Options, and Database. I'll just paste that in. If you get this, it means we don't have anything in the database. So if I type in 400 list, you can see it's blank right now. So what we can do is start entering records. So I'm just going to enter a record, type in enter, and it will ask for a name. So something like John Smith, and city, we'll just do something like Dallas. If we do that, we just entered a record, so I can just type in 400 list, and there's our first record. Tried to enter another record, but it says the file is full. So we may have to come back to this and adjust our numbers. So we'll try something like 9. Come back and just see if we can reinitialize this database. So I'll just paste this in there. And we'll see if we reinitialize the database. So I'll just type in 400 list, so we cleared it out. All right, I got the database reinitialized, had to close out and reopen SwiftForth. But I've got 3 records entered in there. So I can enter probably 1 more record. So I've got this record, I'm just gonna hit enter. And we got the last record put in there. So I'm just gonna type in 400 list. And you can see that our record is now in the database. So I can just clear the screen, type in person, or in this case, the word is person, and it will output the last person that was entered into the database. Type in everyone. That will list all our records that we have here. And let's say we want to read the first record. All we need to do is type in one read, type in person. You can see it outputs the first record that we have. And if we want to read the second record, you gotta do 3 read, type in person. This is the second record. So you might be wondering, why don't you just do, 2 read? Well, if I do that, there's nothing in there. You can see it's just a blank thing. That's because we specified this record to be 74 bytes in length. So it kind of runs over into the second record. So this program kind of makes adjustments for you, so you don't have to worry about that part. So it's kind of one of those things that you should probably read up on. It's in the Polyforth manual. I'll leave a link to that PDF below, but it goes into great detail about how to calculate these links. So I'm just going to keep going. We'll just cover kind of the create, read, update, delete type of CRUD application things you do in a typical database. We covered how to read a record. Next thing, what if we want to change the name of this record? You just type in name, ask, and we can type in something different. Type in something like John Jones, type in person, and you see it changed the name. So I can wipe the screen, and we just updated the name right here. So that's how you would update a record. You could also do the same for street, phone, zip, and so on. So if we want to delete a record, just type in 1 scratch. So that should deallocate this first record. So I'm just gonna hit enter, and I'm just gonna wipe the screen. What it does is it writes a couple of zeros into the first record, and that's how you deallocate a record. It just does this for you. So I believe if you type in everyone or .everyone, if I pull up the documentation, you can see that Scratch does not change the contents of the record beyond the first 2 bytes. Scratch also deallocates the record from the file and makes it available. So this will preserve the contents. And another thing we can do is, I'm just going to type this out. You can type in the word entire, B question mark. That will output the record, but it also does something else. So I can just type in pad and dump probably 50 bytes. What it does is it sends the output of this into the pad memory location. So we can do something with this record if we need to. We can probably dump more bytes. We'll just dump 100 bytes. And we captured the output. So you can see we've got the tail end of our phone number. So that's how Entire works. It's already built in, so you don't have to program or do anything else. We'll see if we can do a report off this data. Just like that, we've got our report. You can see that we've got our deallocated record. So I would have to go back and fix that. If I were to type in one scratch and then type in enter, I could probably overwrite this record and create a new one. So to do the report stuff, I created this word called .report. So if you want to follow along, you can just paste this in there or copy it. It's a pretty long command, but all you're doing is just formatting these headers. You're just going to evaluate this long string, and that's pretty much all you do. So it comes built in with these words, so you can build reports off of this database. And if I just type in .report, you can see it just outputs our data. To export a block, all you're going to do is just create a file and write to the file. So every block is 124 bytes. So all you need to do is just write to a file. So I'm just going to paste that in there. So if you get an error like that, you have to always be careful to keep this number right here. To fix this error, we just have to change this file ID right here. So I'm just going to create another demo or another file, and we'll be sure to save this number. So I'm just gonna duplicate it to the stack so I can remember that. And we'll go here and just type in 840, write file, and we will close that. So probably have to do 840 close. I'm just doing this from memory. And there we go. So we'll navigate to that directory, and you can see that we have our file right here. And I'm just going to try to open it with something like Notepad. So I'm going to do that, and we've got our file, and I'll probably just do a word wrap. There we go. So we've got our file. Next, I'm just going to show you how to import this file. So to import the file, we're just going to modify what we did in the beginning, and I'm going to close out of SwiftForth and just change this to the file name. We're just going to open up SwiftForth, go to the database. Once that's loaded, we'll have to make another change right here. So we got that. Max records, I believe I set it to something like 10. So we'll change that. The max blocks, just change it to something like 3. We'll map it to block 400 like what we had. And I'm just gonna roll with this. So we'll copy this and I'm gonna paste it in. So there we go. We got all our records imported, and we used this word called maps. In this case, we could have had, I believe, 1, since we only used 1 block. But if you have multiple blocks, then you want to change this number accordingly. So if you have something like 5 blocks, you want to change it to 5. But you can get away with doing things like this. And we're just going to set up our fields like we had them. Set up the file like it was. We're going to use the word using, and this is going to use that file that we had. Just kind of do the same thing we did last time. So that's kind of how you create, read, update, and delete a blocks database. So if you're interested in making your own database, the blocks database is pretty good. Barely covered probably 10% of what you can do with the blocks database system, and it goes a lot deeper than what I covered. But if you want something more kind of turnkey and ready to go, I usually just mess with FilePro. So if I go into define files, you can see it's kind of similar to the blocks database. You can set up your field links just like we did in the blocks database. So in the blocks database, we had city, state, and zip. So over here, you can see that state is only 2 bytes. And unlike the blocks database system, we can set a type. So this is going to be all caps. So if I type in lowercase, it's going to immediately make it all capitalized. And we have a bunch of data types that are built in. There's a ton to this system. I just wanted to show how they're kind of related. So if you're interested in this, like, subscribe, and let me know what you think.